Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I see there's a great discussion going on online, and it's about giving dawah to the nation of Islam. And I see a few posts and a few videos, and I like to tune in into these type of topics because it broadens the discussion on the issue. So, um, watching our brothers at the features and also Hadith disciples and also other discussions and debates about the nation of Islam, and they're contributing to the Muslim or the Islamic image in the US, or being from one of the first images of Islam in America, and the things they contribute to Islam despite their beliefs, which are in contradiction to Islam. So this is a great discussion, and I think that this type of discussion, it needs to be there in our community, so the thinking and certain type of understanding could come about. And I also believe that a lot of people watch these videos, and a lot of our brothers and sisters watch these videos. So I like to put in my input into the discussion. The nation of Islam and giving them dawah. Now, we can understand from a fundamental level, the first question a person might have, why we need to give the nation of Islam dawah. Are they Muslim? And this is a big question that's very important. They're not Muslims, and this is why they need dawah. And when I say that they're not Muslim, is because their beliefs contradict Quran and Sunnah. All right, so this is why they need dawah. They believe Elijah Muhammad, Robert Poole, is the messenger of Allah, and they believe Fard Muhammad is Allah in person. Right? This is their beliefs. And we know from the basic fundamentals of the Quran, from every aspect of Islamic monotheism, كما قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Surah Al-Ikhlas. Right? Just from this small chapter in the Quran, say He, Allah, is one. Right? Allahu Samad. Allah is self-sufficient. Right? Meaning that Allah is not a human being. He doesn't have a digestive system. He doesn't have organs. Correct? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like his creation. He begets not, nor he's begotten, and is none like him. Laysa ay shay'in mithlihi. There's nothing on earth like him. So this surah and other chapters and other verses in Quran negates everything that the nation of Islam is upon. All right? The nation of Islam beliefs are not supported. So this is the reason why the people from the nation needs dawah to enter to the folds of Islam. All right? Properly. So yes, they need dawah. But my real question here is, who is to give the nation of Islam dawah? Because they are people from the videos that are going about nation of Islam, they have their sciences. Yes, they have their sciences. And for the average African American or Afro-Caribbean Sunni Muslim, whether you Salafi, Sunni, whatever you're upon, we have to look at certain aspects of things. Why the nation Islam still exists today, when other groups from the civil rights movement no longer exist, right? There were other black Sunni Muslim, there were black Sunni Muslim movements during the time of the nation that no longer exist, like the Dar al-Islam movement, right? So the nation of Islam organization was fixed on dealing with black people's social issues. Black people hated themselves, self-hate, And Elijah Muhammad, even though he was not highly educated, Elijah Muhammad has some gifts and talents, and he understood the psyche of the average Black American. And this is why he was able to preach his message for Black people to have self-respect for themselves. Try not being like the people who enslaved them, white Europeans, white Americans who enslaved African people. Stop hating yourself because you're black skin. Stop trying to look at white people wanting to be like them, and stop looking at white people for solutions and for money and business. Do for oneself. Do for oneself. And then the Nation of Islam implemented within the nation, which exists today, of Black people working together, right? Black people doing business together, Black people's politics. And they were successful. Now, they had a lot of ups and downs with the nation, and I don't want to make this video about the history of the Nation of Islam, but they had their ups and downs. And from the Nation of Islam came great people like Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, who were great Sunni Muslims who left the nation and enter into traditional Islam. But they did not leave from fighting for Black causes, right? Now, for the videos that our brothers are talking about the Nation of Islam and they need to get dawah, that yes, they need dawah, but there's a little question mark we need to put up here. A question mark. And the question mark is going to be, who gives them dawah? Now, the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from his wisdom, when he sent out his companions to give dawah, he did not send the Sahaba who had little knowledge. He sent the most. When Prophet sent Mu'ad to Yemen, Mu'ad was very knowledgeable of the religion. He sent him to the Wu. He sent him to Yemen. The people in Yemen were what? Ahlul Kitab. They were Jews and Christians. All right, they were Jews and Christians, which means that he was also familiar with the beliefs of Ahlul Kitab. He was also familiar with the customs of the Arabs from Yemen and their traditions and their religions and their beliefs. And he called them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Prophet Muhammad sent somebody who was knowledgeable about the religion, also was knowledgeable about the people who he was going to, who he was familiar with them about. You get the point? Nation of Islam are not ignorant people. And unfortunately, question mark is, who give the people from nation dawah? And I'm going to give you a short story. There's a brother. Highly respect this brother. I don't want to mention his name, right? Because there's still some things unclear about him today. But there's a brother, Sunni Muslim brother, who much older than I am. I respect the brother, who went to Islamic University in Medina. Islamic University in Saudi. Didn't go to Medina University. But he went to one of the Islamic universities in Saudi Arabia, right? And Sheikh bin Baz, Abdulaziz bin Baz, rahimahullah, helped this brother get into the Islamic University, one of the Islamic universities in Saudi. Alhamdulillah, right? I seen the brother a few years ago on social media, and I noticed he's with the Nation of Islam. He's a graduate from Islamic University in Saudi, and I noticed he's with the Nation of Islam. I'm not saying he left traditional Islam or Sunni Muslims. I'm not saying he left them, but I noticed that he spends a lot of time with the Nation of Islam now. I'm about to make a big point with this. Question mark is now, who give the people in Nation of Islam dawah? The big question mark, right? So there's a brother. I notice he spends a lot of time with the nation. He graduated from an Islamic university, right? Sheikh bin Baz helped him get into the university. I look at his Facebook page. I notice he spends a lot of time with the nation. And I got to ask the question, why somebody who graduated from Islamic University, who understand Aqidah, who understand Tawheed, right? And I seen him maybe last year give a khutbah in a well-known masjid. And when it came to translate the meaning of La ilaha illallah, He gave the wrong translation. He gave the wrong translation. And if you looked at the brother 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when he explained the meaning of La ilaha illallah, he would say, La ma'buda bil haqqin illallah. There's no deity worthy of worship except Allah. But in the latest khutbah I see of him last year, he said, no God but Allah. I was like, yo, bro, that's incorrect interpretation. And when I listened to him from years ago, when it comes to the Shahada's meaning, he never interpreted it that way. Never interpreted it that way. Either or, the seeking of knowledge is low, or slip of the tongue. Make excuses for our brothers, excuse of the tongue. But maybe some of his understanding of the religion is changing. I see him spend a lot of time with the nation of Islam. A lot of time. So the question is, question mark here, who give dawah to the people from the nation? The nation of Islam have something with them that the African American Sunni Muslims, whether you Salafi, Sufi, Ash'ari, whatever you want to call yourselves, there's something that the nation have that you guys don't have, that we don't have, not included me, that we don't have. The nation of Islam, when it comes to black social issues, they know about black social issues in and out. The African American Salafi, you're running away from black identity. You're running away from black social issues. And this is why we don't see big followers of the nation today becoming Muslims. Today, we don't see them becoming Muslims today. Because the people from the nation, this is what they say, because I have a lot of my associates who came out of the nation. I have old school associates, so older than me, elderly. I have associates who are around my age, either came out the nation or were of the community. And then I have those, those who parents, those who I know their parents were the nation. And these individuals, when it comes to black social issues, they have some surface understanding, and a lot of them have a lot of understanding, right? So when I talk about black peoples or African American Muslims need to do this or need to do that, I don't gotta pull them. I don't gotta pull them. They understand. The African American Salafi or Sunni who came to Islam, whether they used to be a Christian or the agnostic or whatever their faith is, many of them, they are running away from black issues, like everybody else in the black community in America are running away from black issues. So if you're a Sunni Muslim, you don't have a knowledge about Islam itself, or you don't know much about the nation itself, and you have identity problems about being black, and you don't care too much about black social issues, you're not the one to give these people's dawah. Because when you go to them, they're going to be giving you dawah. They're going to be giving you dawah. And it goes back to what I said in the video. Seen the brother. I know he graduated from Islamic University in Saudi. He's an Arabic speaker and everything. And I look at his Facebook page, I think last year, man, he spent all his time with the people from the Nation of Islam. And I asked myself, why he's spending his time with people from the Nation of Islam? For somebody who studied Islam for so many years, because in the African American Sunni community, African American Salafi community, all of them are running away from black social issues. None of them are doing nothing for black people. And majority of them are all black, masters in the black neighborhoods, and all of them are running away from black social issues. They're running away from it, especially the Salafi community. You think that you're going to give the nation dawah? As soon as you talk to the Nation of Islam about Islam and Sunni, they're going to look at what are actually you doing with the knowledge that you have. They're going to turn around and look. They're going to turn around and going to look at you just like this. This is what is going on in their mind. They say it in their mind. Me as a black person, part of the nation, we have our own communities. We own property. We own land. We're organized. We're ready to fight. You guys don't even have a masjid. You guys don't run the community. You let the foreigners come into your communities, your masjid, your community, and run everything and run you guys out. They saying in their mind, in their head, they're saying you're gonna ask us to leave this where we own our things. So your community where you guys don't own nothing, and you allow the immigrants to run your community, make money off of your people. So it's not about just giving them dawah, having knowledge about the religion, knowing about their religion, because they're upon that's a religion, know about their religion, but the black social issues, or if you don't have no understanding of black social issues, you don't have a care in the world, you don't even own your own masjid, you don't even not running your own communities, you guys don't own no businesses, you're not organized, and you're running away from being black and just want to be uh uh use Islam as a identity only, and you're running using Islam as excuse from being black, or want to be Arab, or want to be Pakistani, or want to be Bangladeshi or a Southeast Asian Muslim, you think that you're going to be fit to give these people dawah? You know, one of my associates told me who fathers a nation, part of the nation, and it was giving him dawah, right? And he's like, how am I become Muslim like you guys, man? They don't even respect African American Muslims. He said the Arabs and the Indians don't even respect you guys. That's the truth. They don't respect us. They don't respect us. And they're gonna say, but you guys, you're chasing these people who don't respect you. So when a person is gonna accept Islam from you, when you're not using Islam to empower black people, see, people gonna look at what you do, not what you say. People look at what you do, not what you're saying. What are actually you doing? Somebody asked me the other day, right here on YouTube, why do a lot of white people don't accept Islam in America? I said, because white people have wealth and money in America. And when they look at some of the Muslims, they look at some of the Muslims in the Muslim country, they're going to say, look how much poverty. They have all the wealth and money in this, and the ruler is rich, and look how they treat their citizens. And a white person is going to turn around and say, I don't want that for myself. Some of them, not all of them. Or the white privilege, they're so high, they're like, they have a lot of pride. They have a pride. Then except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide. But for the nation particular, for this video, the nation of Islam, it just can't be anybody give them dawah. Because I seen a brother, a graduate from Islamic University, he's with them now. So they mean that the nation of Islam gave this guy dawah. He said they probably told him, "Are you tired? You tired? Or you guys tired? You tired not running your communities? You tired you guys can't organize anything?" Even today, meaning not literally today. If you go look up Imam Siraj Wahaj videos on Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, you're going to say the nation is this. He has many videos where everything about the nation is negative from Imam Siraj. Look at his Imam Siraj of today. He's with Farrakhan doing fundraisers for a masjid, for a Nation of Islam masjid. So who's going to be really fit to give the nation dawah? Because it appears to be Muslims supposed to have knowledge from our community, supposed to be imams or leaders. They are even getting scooped up by the nation. The nation is scooping them up and have them doing things for the nation. And you look at why they're doing it, because hey, they're going to turn around and say, well, the nation, they organize. So the real question is, who's going to give this dawah to the nation of Islam? Who? I'm not saying that we don't give dawah, and we do, but giving dawah is not for everybody. There's certain people, beliefs or religion that you have to have ilm of your deen and ilm of what they're upon. And you have to not just have ilm of your deen, you have to have ilm of the deen of Islam, but you have to have iman billahi. Some of your brothers, you have shubahat. Some brothers and sisters in our community have shubahat with them. They have some shubahat with them. They have some shubahat. They have shubahat with them. So you have to have in the religion, right? You have to have real Islamic knowledge. You have to have Iman Billahi subhanahu wa ta'ala and know how to argue and debate. And then with the black social issues, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, if you're black African American Muslim and you're not using Islam to empower the people in your community, they're gonna look at you and say you guys are not doing anything for your people. And they're gonna turn around and say, look, that's your masjid down the street. Why the Arabs got all the business around the masjid selling alcohol, pork, and beer, and you guys don't shut that down. You don't shut that down. So instead of the black people who are Muslim in your community who don't have no money, instead of you guys empowering the people in your community to have business and not let the foreigners do the business, get all the business, that you empower your community and use Islam to unite your people, they're going to turn around and say, if you can't do this, why I'm going to join you guys? Why I'm going to join you guys? And if somebody who engages with the nation and he doesn't have a lot of Iman, his Iman is weak, he doesn't have knowledge, he have shubahat, they're gonna grasp this person up. They're gonna take them within the folds of the nation of Islam. They're gonna say the reason why you guys in the Sunni community can't do this because you guys have a lot of self-hate. You're trying to be Arabs. There's one tell you trying to be Arabs, and the Arabs are the one who enslaved black folks. So it's not about go give them dawah. You guys have to have some of the religion. You have to have knowledge about what they're upon, because there are people who love to debate and argue. They know how to debate and argue. Say it again. They know how to debate and argue. You don't see Malcolm X videos. You don't see those Malcolm X lectures. The Nation of Islam made Malcolm X. Anybody can say whatever they want. Malcolm X made his opinion about them, about the nation. They were not, as they started out with, how they started out, they were not the people who they are today. While he was alive, he said that before he left them, right? But the nation made Malcolm. The nation had a lot of influence of Malcolm in the way he was speaking and talking. If you don't have a lot of element of religion, you don't know how to debate and argue, you're not going to win an argument with these people. Because the nation themselves, they are in the cult. I'm being very real. They're in the cult. I have on Facebook, I have a lot of people from the Nation of Islam on my Facebook page. Man, they don't even want to talk religion, some of them. Some of them, they're like on another, they're like in the, they're like on the mothership. They're out there. They're gone. They need dawah, but when you start open up a talk or intellectual talk, they could debate. And then when you talk about black social issues, a lot of African American Sunni Muslims, in particular, the Salafis, they running away from black issues. I don't want to talk about black issues because it's considered to be a black nationalist. I don't want to talk about cleaning up the drugs in the street. I don't want to talk about policies in America that attack black people, the reason why we impoverish in these communities and have no business. I don't want to talk about those things. I don't want to address those things. I accept Islam because it's a way to escape from those things, not to use Islam to address those things. You think that person is going to get the nation, somebody from the nation to somebody who's in this state of denial? They're going to convince somebody from the nation to join them in that state of denial? And Islam, Quran and Sunnah don't support your denial. The things that you're denying, the things that you don't want to address in the black communities. Islam is not forbidding you from not addressing these things. Your inferiority complex and self-hate is the excuse why you're not addressing these issues with Islam. You think the nation is going to follow you? So we have to start really asking ourselves, how are we going to talk to somebody from the nation who own property, who own their religious centers, who own their property, who are educated on dunya matters, to embrace your version of Islam, which is, yeah, I believe in Quran and Sunnah, but I'm not going to use Islam to empower my people who are being oppressed. You think they're gonna embrace? You think they're gonna accept Islam from you? I'm Black American Muslim. This is our community, but I let the Arabs and the Indo Pakistanis run the money and finances in the community, and I shun any black issues because I don't want to make the Arabs and the Indo Pakis feel uncomfortable. You think they're gonna embrace Islam from you guys? And Islam, Quran and Sunnah, not supporting your inferiority complex and your self hate. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not Islam empower the Arabs? Did not Islam empower the Arabs? Muslims? Did not Islam empower the Arab Muslims? Look at the Arabs before Islam came. They were not powerful people. Islam empowered them. And then when Islam went entered into other countries during the life of the Prophet ﷺ, it empowered the peoples. So today, Islam is everywhere. Asia, Muslim countries in Asia, Asian Muslim countries. The largest Muslim country is, largest populated Muslim country is Indonesia. The Indonesian Muslims don't have the issues the Black American have here. They use Islam to empower their people. Every other nationality using Islam to empower their people. So with the state of how the African American Muslim is, are you really equipped to give people from the nation dawah? Are you really equipped? And you have an inferiority complex, and you're using Islam for escapism, not to address Black social issues. Are you going to be equipped to deal with somebody who's part of the nation, who are doing things in the Black community, empowering Black people in the Black community? And that itself was also a question mark. And then they'll understand that the Nation of Islam is like a cult itself. There are a cult. They're like a religious cult mixed with a business cult. There's a hustle to what they're doing, but there are people who are inclined to dealing with Black social issues and know the psychology of a Black person. If you're a Black Sunni Muslim, you don't have elm of the religion. You don't know how to argue in debates, and you have inferiority complex using Islam as an excuse not to address anything in the Black issues. You ain't equipped to debate nobody from the Nation of Islam. They're going to tear you up. Matter of fact, you step to one of them people from the Nation of Islam, and if he's an intellectual person, because the Nation of Islam have their own understanding of Black psychology. The Nation of Islam have their own comprehension, understanding, philosophy of the Black conscious and the Black man and Black psychology, in another word, and Black social issues. You talk to them, they already know your psych is. They already know, man, you guys are not doing nothing to empower Black people in the Black community. They know that you're using Islam as an identity, and you're running away from the Black identity, and you don't want to deal with social issues. An intelligent one from them know this. So are you really ready to step and call them to Islam and teach them about Islam? This is something that we have to really sit in and ask ourselves. Are we really equipped for this? People talk about Dawah, man. Dawah has many stages and phases, but there's some things that the Nation of Islam have that we don't have, that we need. The Nation of Islam, they're very disciplined. And there's some social sciences that they develop and they understand. And you can see that reflection on Malcolm X and those great lectures of his. Those great lectures of his. Are you really equipped to deal with these people? Especially come to the religious aspect of the deen, because a lot of us, we don't have understanding even of the deen itself. And then the nation also have some blind follow. They have a lot of blind following and myths and misunderstandings. They're not really hard to give dawah to, because they're just like the Nasara, in my personal opinion. Their ignorance is on this higher level, to the same level, to a higher level of the Nasara. But when it comes to what are you actually doing in the Black community, then they're gonna be like, yo, what are you doing? You know, I think some of the best people to give the nation dawah are people who are former members of the nation and people who came out of the War of Deen community. These two. Or somebody who grew up, who learned Islam, who grew up, who was part of the nation, or family was part of the nation, or from the War of Deen community, and that person went and studied Islam and have knowledge. They are some of the best people to give the nation dawah. Especially the people from the War of Deen community, especially them. Because I'd be very honest, I have been an imam before one of these communities that were part of the nation, right? And then they left the nation, and they left the nation through the works of War of Deen Muhammad, right? And then one of my associates was an older brother, got them to move away from the War of Deen understanding. Because War of Deen Muhammad they have issues. We already understand. I don't want to make this about them, right? He got them away from them. So when I went to work with this community before, these people understand a lot of things about social issues of Black folks, business, how to run a business, how to get money, how to work together as a community. Some of them are some of the best people to give the nation dawah. They are some of the best, some of them. Those who are educated about Islam, or if you're a person who grew up in these communities and you have knowledge about Islam, they be some of the best people to talk to them because they know their mindset. But if you like one of these brothers that's converted to Islam a couple of years ago, don't know too much about American history, don't know nothing about Black people's struggle, you know, you don't see race. One of these guys, you know, we have these Muslims, they don't see race. They don't see race, right? They don't see George Floyd got killed because he was Black. They don't see race, you know. You ain't the best to give these people dawah because they're gonna look at you and like you don't know how to live as a Black, you don't know how to be in a Black person's shoe in America who's being oppressed. And then if you're one of these brothers who have some elm, you have knowledge of the Islam, you know Arabic language, you went to study Islam, right? And you know in the African American Sunni community, there are people who are running away from Black social issues, including yourself. Man, them people from the nation might bring you in, man. They might bring you into their folds. They're like, yo, man, how you Muslim and you don't want to do nothing for Black peoples in America? You don't want to use Islam to empower people. They know your psychology. They have their own understanding of Black psychology. I was listening to a very famous Black psychologist in America, Dr. Amos Wilson, right? He's from he's a Garveyite, right? Dr. Amos Wilson. I listened to a lecture of his because I study Islamic psychology. And I want to help Black people with their social issues. First, got to understand the psyche of Black people. How do slavery or being enslaved or being oppressed affect the psyche of the victims, right? Dr. Amos Wilson said the best psychologist, Black psychologist, right? And some people see Dr. Amos Wilson as one of the best Black psychologists who deals with Black issues. Dr. Amos Wilson said one of the best Black psychologists was Elijah Muhammad, despite his mistakes. He said, despite his mistakes, he's one of the best Black psychologists. Anybody know Elijah Muhammad didn't have a high education? Didn't have a high education. He said, but he understood Black people thinking and social issues and how Black people think. And this is why he was able to get masses of Black people to start changing their way of thinking, meaning dealing with self-hate, inferiority complex. He said, despite all his shortcomings, he said the greater good of him was that he understood Black psychology. Now imagine you are African-American Salafi, African-American Sunni, and you're using Islam to run away from Black social issues. You're scared to talk about Black social issues on a YouTube page. You're scared to say that you're African American. You're scared to say that majority of people in your community are Black. If you're scared to say that in a YouTube video or on Facebook, on any video, you scared to say that your community is majority all black and we have to deal with black social issue. If you scared to say that in the video, you're not equipped to give these people's dawah, because you're using Islam as an excuse not to handle black social issues. Your peoples are suffering in the streets in America. Your peoples are suffering in the communities you're living in. We are financially suffering. We got all these things from white supremacy. If you're scared even to say the word white supremacy in one of your lectures, you're not equipped to talk to those peoples and give them no dawah. They're gonna say, yo, man, but you scared to deal with social issues. You're using Islam as an excuse not to do anything. And that's not the purpose of the deen. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did he not say, Ya qawmi, O my peoples? Did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't call the people out according to the tribes they were from? Did not address people according to the tribe they was from the Arabs, from their particular tribes? Did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did he not understand the different cultural things that made different tribes different, and what united them and what made them different? You knew cultural things about them. You could find this about the people from Yathrib, the Ansars, when they got married. The Prophet said they liked the duff. He understood their culture, even though he was Arab, but he was Qurayshi, and they was from a different tribe. Did he not understand their tribal things? Did he not understand their languages, their dialects? The Arabs, even in time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had different dialects. What we know today as Hafs, that recite the Quran, this Qurayshi dialect. The Quran was revealed in different 7 different recitals. Those are from the different dialects that was around the Prophet during that time. Do you know in Arabic language that we call Nahu and Sarf, that is Iktilaf and Nahu? Because why this Iktilaf and Nahu? It depends on the tribes, which famous Arab tribes they come from. They had different rulings for grammar. So when the Prophet dealt with his people, he understood their languages and their thinking and their social issues. And you don't say the social issues not important for black people, then when you think zakat is in Islam, so you're gonna run away from black people's social issues, or are you equipped to deal with the Nation of Islam? I don't think many of the Nation of Islam, I don't think you guys are equipped for that. So this is going to be reality for some of the brothers. They're going to indoctrinate you. That's why I mentioned the brother I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I can say for sure, the brother who I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and if you come in now, wait till this video is over, or listen to the beginning of the video, I can't say for sure if that brother have left Islam, which I doubt he didn't leave Islam, but I know that he has some influences now by the Nation of Islam. And the only reason why I can see that why he's always with the nation now, because the Nation of Islam are doing things in the black community that the Sunni Muslims are, African American Sunni Muslims are running from. The Nation of Islam are doing things in the black community where the African American Sunni Salafi Sufis are running away from. They're hiding in the masjid. They're hiding with the Islam in the masjid. Hiding. I don't want to talk about black issues. I became Muslim as a means to escape, like a person go watch a sci-fi movie to escape the reality. He's depressed, all the things in politics, all the people who's being oppressed in the world. Let me go to the movies and watch this movie to escape for a few minutes. Go into some fantasy world watching this movie. A lot of us, we use black folks, we use religion as escapism, and we're using the deen for the same thing. And we don't want to go out there and address the black social issues. Are you really equipped to talk to the nation? And if you're one of those brothers who have some knowledge, the one I mentioned at the beginning of the video, have some ilm. As I mentioned, Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, helped the brother get into the university. I seen one of his videos sometime last year. I was like, man, this guy spent a lot of time with the Nation of Islam. Even the style now he give his khutbah, I heard him translate La ilaha illallah, so there's no God but Allah. I'm like, yo, that's not true. You're a graduate from Islamic University. And I listened to your old stuff 10 to 15 years ago. You saying the correct translation of the Shahada. La ma'budu bil haqq in the law. There is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. Now you translate it to this. Maybe you got some of the influence of the Nation of Islam. That's why your style of giving khutbah has changed. And then I have to ask myself, why will a brother will have go with them? Because the African American Sunni Muslim ain't doing their business. They're not handling any black social issues. I'm gonna keep on saying it. I don't care who get hurt. I don't care who get mad. I don't care who has to hear it. You guys need to hear it. I go talk about Imam Siraj. Look at Imam Siraj. Look at them videos on YouTube from back in the day. He talk about Nation of Islam and Farrakhan because he came out of the nation. Look at him now. He's doing fundraisers for Farrakhan now. Why? Black folks don't got the money. He know where the money's at. He know which black folks got money and who organized. He know the Nation of Islam got money and them peoples are organized. So who gonna give them dawah? Who gonna give them dawah? I think we need to first do some dawah of ourselves, man. African American Sunni Muslims, especially the Salafi community, you guys are not equipped to deal with the Nation of Islam. You're not equipped. You're not equipped. A lot of the African Americans, especially the Salafi community, you guys are not equipped to give them dawah. You know why you're not equipped? Because you need dawah yourself. You're not using Islam to empower black peoples in your community. You're running away from black folks. Nation of Islam is on kufr. They have all them beliefs that's kufr. But they're empowering their people. So when I go to their community, they own the business. Not like Imam Siraj. Brothers love Imam Siraj and Master Taqwa. I'm gonna keep on saying it. I love Imam Siraj too. Imam Siraj is a lot of work in the black community, right? A lot of them brothers, man, clean up them streets, man, back in the days in Brooklyn. Who owned those shops now? Who owned them shops? The African American brothers who cleaned up them streets by Masjid Taqwa on Fulton. Them brothers who cleaned up, because I met a lot of those brothers in prison. A lot of brothers don't know that. I've been to prison, right? From 19 to 22, I was 23 or 24 years old. I met a lot of brothers from Masjid Taqwa in prison here in New York. Them brothers got a whole different story on what happened in Masjid Taqwa. Brothers don't want to talk about it. I got a lot of peers who are older than me who came out of Taqwa. They got a lot of stories for Imam Siraj. And the truth is, them brothers cleaned up the streets. They was fighting them drug dealers, but they didn't reap none of the booty. They didn't reap any booty. Did not reap the spoils of war. That's what booty means. Did not reap the spoils of war. Who reaped the spoils of the war from the African American Muslims cleaning up Fulton? Who reaped the benefit? Go look there. Go to Masjid Taqwa today and see who got all the businesses around Masjid Taqwa. Ain't no black African American or no black Afro-Caribbean brothers, the ones who fought and cleaned up them streets, none of them reaped the spoils of that. None of them reaped the spoils of it. They cleaned them streets up for immigrants to come and to make money, and they're not even making no money. African American Muslim, we got Sunni Muslims, we got a lot of work to do in our community. Talk about giving the Nation of Islam dawah. The Nation of Islam going to give you guys dawah. You're going to fall into their folds. And Imam Siraj doing fundraisers now for Farrakhan. And one brother who graduated from one of Islamic universities in Saudi Arabia, no Arabic, no deen, Sheikh bin Baz, help him to get into university. I see him now all the time with the Nation of Islam, all the time. And the only reason why they're with them, because Nation of Islam got some things down with organizing black folks and using their Batil, kufr, beliefs and principles or their own social sciences to keep their peoples together and to make money. And the African American Muslim, we on the haq. Sunni Muslims, we on the haq. We on Tawheed. Why we can't use the deen to empower our peoples? There's something wrong there. There's something wrong there. Whoever needs to hear it, need to hear it, man. This is the haq. So before you talk about go give the nation dawah, you better hope the nation will be giving you guys dawah, man. Gonna say, man, Are you tired every time, you guys don't own no business in your neighborhood with the masjid at? Why all the Arabs got the corner stores where you live, man? Why none of the African American brothers don't got no business by the masjid? Why you got the Arabs where you live selling alcohol, beer, and pork and lotto where you guys live? And why you guys don't want to do nothing about it? That's what we're gonna straight up tell you guys. And they're gonna tell you, you want me to leave the nation where the black people own their stuff to go to your communities where none of the black folks don't own nothing, but all the immigrants own everything? That's what they're gonna tell you in your face, man. They're gonna tell you that in your face. And that's gonna hurt you. And you're gonna see there's some truth to what they're saying. That means that you're gonna start leaning towards them a little bit. So who's gonna give them dawah? Who's gonna give them dawah? Man, we need to do dawah for ourselves. We need dawah. We need to start taking the deen and implementing with ourselves. We need the dawah. Before we go to any other people and take it, is go give the nation dawah, man, the nation gonna be giving you guys dawah. They're gonna be giving you guys dawah. And here's a takeaway, inshallah, in this video. A takeaway. If you one of these brothers who came out the nation, either one of your parents were and you grew up in it, you left it, either you was with the War of Deen community. I have my up and down with the War of Deen community, because the War of Deen community, depending on their location, some of them just, when it comes to Islam, they're confused. Some of them, when it comes to Islam, they're like, they have a good understanding. The ones who have the War of Deen followers who have a good understanding of Islam, they're very rare. I'll be very blunt. I mean, many years ago, I was in Philadelphia. I was very shocked. I was in Philly. I was in this masjid in Philly. I knew it wasn't a Salafi masjid, but I was confused in here. People said it was a War of Deen masjid, right? I was in Philadelphia, and I was in this masjid. It was a War of Deen masjid. The imam was in the Quran, and I was like, yo, imam reciting ayat from the Quran, reciting it properly, then translating its meaning, then start narrating hadiths in the Arabic language and start translating it. And then he didn't have no paper in front of him, meaning he was given the khutbah and reciting the ayats from Quran and the hadiths in Arabic from his head. I was like, this is a War of Deen community. I never seen that in a War of Deen community before. Only Salafi masjids or Arab masjids or one of the Indo-Paki masjids. Somebody said, this is a War of Deen masjid. I said, nah, you. And I looked at people, how they was dressed. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. But the imam was War of Deen follower. These people knew Arabic language, reciting Quran. I was very shocked. Never seen no War of Deen followers like that in New York. Never. War of Deen community in New York, there's some of their masjids, these dudes be reading from the Bible. Matter of fact, in New York, some of the War of Deen communities don't even open up the masjid for 5 salah a day. They don't even open the masjid for 5 salah. Juma, and then Ahyanan. So if it's one of these War of Deen community that's close to the Sunnah, I'd rather brothers should work with them how to get their communities on track, how to get their black communities on track. Then work with those War of Deen followers and them brothers who came out of their community, who understand the Nation of Islam thinking, their philosophy, and let them do the dawah with them. Because the people who I seen who left the Nation of Islam, a lot of them is from those brothers and sisters who used to be part of their community, who left, who came to Sunni Muslim, learned religion. They're the ones who's pulling them out. Just like how War of Deen Muhammad pulled out some of the followers from the nation. Well, that's another whole story. That's a split. That was a split altogether. Right? But the nation and War of Deen, they have their own philosophy, their own type of thinking, and it's not from no novelist Muslim to be giving them dawah, because they might end up giving you dawah. And then if you have some ilm, but you're not using Islam to empower your peoples in your community, the Nation of Islam are we're gonna pull your coat like, yo, you black. Why you have the Arab on the corner right there, got the store selling beer and pork and all this poison, and you guys don't do nothing about it, but you walk by him every day and you give him salam while he's selling that stuff to your people. That's not going to affect your heart when them tell you that, man. They might pull you towards them. The Nation of Islam might pull you towards them. So if your iman might not be tapped. And I'll be very blunt. A lot of African American Muslims, especially the Salafi and the Sunni communities, the Salafis, you guys are spiritually, you're not equipped. You're not equipped. I'm just gonna be very blunt. You guys are not equipped. You guys are not equipped to do certain type of dawah. You guys are not equipped unless you like some brother who got a lot of have a lot of experience in life. That's for these brothers. But you don't got a lot of experience in life, you don't got a lot of and your iman is not strong, these people will pull you towards them. They will pull you towards them. And I was shocked when I seen Imam Siraj doing fundraisers for Farrakhan. I was very shocked when I seen this brother who I knew graduated from Islamic University, Sheikh bin Baz, helped him get into it. He's with the Nation of Islam all the time. And I figured it out because, the African American Muslims ain't doing nothing in the community. African American Sunni Muslims, we ain't doing nothing. African American Salafis, you actually the one splitting up the black community or fighting over what sort of sheikh you're going to follow. Even if you're running away from the black issues and you filling the peoples in your community head with what Sheikh Rabi said about this person. What the beef between this sheikh and Saudi and that sheikh and Saudi. Why everybody in your community is suffering from all the social issues that's going on in America, your people's in the mix of all of it, especially your women, and especially your children. Unfortunately, all black folks are affected with that. And you want to talk about no black issues? None of it. You're scared to say white supremacy. You're scared to say on Facebook or on YouTube that majority of people in your community are black. You ain't be getting nobody no nation, no dawah. Nobody in the nation, a person from the nation who have from their sciences, and I told you, from the Nation of Islam, from their sciences, they understand black psychology. Black psychology. They understand the psyche of black people. They understand the psychology of black people. And the Salafis and the Sunni African American Muslims, you are affected with all the social issues. All the psychosis of self-hate, inferiority complex, and the reality of white supremacy effects on blacks, you are affected with all of it, but don't know it. But they know when they see you. People from the nation, they know when they see you. They know when they see you. As soon as they go to your community, they see, look, they see your community. All the people in your community are African American, but all the business owned in your neighborhood is by immigrants. And your people, a black American Muslims, don't own none of the business. They see that. They're not stupid. And they know why. And they're going to say, well, why are they going to give up their wealth, what they build, for the Arab Muslim who came to this country to take it over? And you allow the Arabs in your communities or the Indo-Pakistan community to take over business where you guys live because they're your brothers in Islam. But they're not your brothers in Islam when it comes to breaking bread. They're not your brother in Islam when it comes to hiring people to work in their business. They only hire their own family members. So I think the African American Sunni and Salafi community, you guys need to start doing dawah with yourselves and your own community. Start building your own communities. So your dawah does not lip service. Your dawah be by your actions, because you're doing what you're supposed to do. Then they will see, people like from the nation and everybody else will see, look, these people got the solutions for our problems. So they might listen to you when you're ready to give them dawah now, when you got your community established. They might say, they're not going to look at what you say, they're going to look at what you're doing. That's the biggest dawah. That's the biggest dawah. Because in the state that we are in right now, a person from the nation who got knowledge of their institution or their sciences, they're gonna look at the African American Sunni Muslim like, yeah, but look, you guys don't own nothing. See, we haven't dealt with our inferiority complex. And that's why I always say I have a video here on YouTube, on this channel, where there's a brother who's a lawyer. I'm interviewing him, and he talked about how his father was from the nation. And I told him, as me, as somebody who converted to Islam, who used to be a Christian, converted to Islam, when it comes to black social issues, when I talk with the African American Muslims, Sunni Muslims who came from either the Worthian community or came out of the Nation of Islam, when it comes to black social issues and black people need to get stuff done, and so when I mention that we need to do this in the community, they jump on it. They're not like the other brothers who converts and reverts like myself. I gotta pull them and pull them. Yo, I gotta remind them all the time. Yo, we gotta do this. They don't want to do it. But I asked them somebody from the Sunni community who came out of the nation, who came out the Worthian community. I asked them 1 or 2 times, yo, us as black folks we need to get this done. They jump on it. They jump on it. They jump on it. I was in the end with this. I've been saying it for a long time. I remember once I was in the somewhere down south in one of these communities that came out of the Worthian community, where we needed to get something done in the masjid. All right, and I was the imam there. And one of the brother who brought me there, the elder brothers who brought me there, he was like, "Them brothers don't want to hear." I went and told these brothers their wives, some of these brothers' wives, and they all came from the. These women made sure all these guys got together and did what they had to do. So even in their community, people pull each other coat, man. Everyone pulls everyone coat. They might not be the greatest when it comes to explaining their religion. They might not be the most educated in the religion of Islam. They might not be the most educated religion in Islam. You know, they actually need dawah. But best believe, if we are preaching the deen, but we're not living it, and we're not using the religion to empower ourselves, they see that's the first they're going to recognize. Man, I mean, even the Worthian community mentioned from Philly. Remember I mentioned that in this video? The Worthian community? A brother said to me once there in Philly, he said, you got any marriage problem? Don't go to that masjid. It took me years to figure that out, right? What is apparent meaning that because they're not Salafi, they don't know the issues of talaq, they don't know the religious issues. It took me years to see it now. I'm in my 40s. I probably was in that masjid. Maybe that was like 28, maybe 27 or 28 years. I don't know, right? Around that age, I guess estimate, right? But now I'm 44. The reason why the sudden woke are gonna say the Salafis in the Philly, they get married and divorced. They don't understand the institution of Islamic marriages. That's why if I went there, that's what I would have learned from those Worthian, because all of them have successful marriages and children. So I would have learned from them that the Salafis from Germantown Masjid and them, the reason why they marrying and divorce, even though they proclaim Salafiyya, is that they don't understand the Islamic institution of marriage. And they didn't understand it even before they became Muslims. And they didn't, when they became Muslim, they didn't deal with the social issues that they were upon. It was the whole Mongol culture. So that's why they entered the deen now. They claim they Salafi, but all the social issues that black people have related to the dating and stuff, they never filtered that stuff out in their behavior. And that's why they keep on going marriage and divorcing. It took me so many years to see that. I'm in my 40s. I probably was in that place when I was like 27 or 28 years old. I'm 44 now. So before you guys talk about giving them war of diners, dawah, the Nation of Islam, best believe you need to have your community intact, not just your house intact, not just your family intact, your community intact, because at least their communities are somewhat intact and they have money, finances, and they own things. I know some brothers don't want to hear it. Some brothers might agree. Some brothers say, you're confused. You don't know what you're talking about. Hey, man. And I seen that brother. I know he graduated from Islamic University. Like, why he's spending all his time with the Nation of Islam? I could put the thinking cap on. Look at where he originally from and the community that he came out of, the Sunni Muslim community came out. They're not doing nothing for black folks. They're not doing nothing for the African American Muslims. They're not using Islam to empower the people. Nation of Islam, even though they got a lot of cons going on, in my personal opinion, Louis Farrakhan, my personal opinion, he's just an entertainer. I'm just gonna be blunt. Louis Farrakhan, I hear him speak now. I see he's a black entertainer. He say what black people want to hear, mixing it with truths and lies. You know, like one of the brothers who came out of the War of the community. He may have a video somewhere. Maybe I'll post it on my Facebook page where he said he didn't listen to nothing that Louis Farrakhan have to say. He said Louis Farrakhan is a entertainer. He talked about anti-Semitism, Jews this, don't like Jews this, but he said when he had prostate cancer, his doctor was a Jewish doctor. He talked about white people this, white people that. He said Louis Farrakhan's son is married to a white woman. I'm a sort, a hustle. We have a saying in the street: a hustler recognize another hustler. People know when people are hustling them. People see the cons and stuff, right? But those people have the marketing. They have the marketing scheme for their business. They have the marketing plan how to attract black people. They have a marketing plan how to make money as black people. African American Sunni Muslims, especially the Salafi community. We don't even want to talk about black economics in the African American Muslim community. To this day, for all the African American brothers, especially the Sunni community, African American Sunni and Salafi communities, right? For all the Tulab that we have, especially in the Salafi community, the Afro-American or Afro-Caribbean, I haven't seen no rules from A to Z about Islamic economics, Kitabul Buyu. I'm gonna keep on repeating that. I haven't seen. I go to the YouTube pages, talk about fiqh, talk about Aqidah, talk about Islamic Q&A, talk about they have series on this. Everybody have series, but it comes to Islamic economics, Iqtisadiyya, I don't see no rules. Even those who claim to be pro-black or somewhat pan-African, right? They have no rules on Islamic economics, and that's part of fiqh. No, they have no series on this. They got series on everything else. We can't say Aqidah is the most important thing. Finance is not part of Aqidah. Is finance part of Aqidah? Is jihad part of Aqidah? Did not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam fight the disbelievers? Let's look at the Battle of Badr. Was not the Battle of Badr important for the Aqidah, to preserve the Aqidah of the Muslims? Was not the Battle of Badr important to preserve the Aqidah of the Muslims? So they had to fight. Even Allah revealed ayat. About fighting jihad, you might like something that is good for you. So now Battle of Badr was very important for the Muslims. The first battle of the Muslims to preserve the Aqidah. How was it financed? Did any business finances? Economics was part of that. Economics is part of our Aqidah. It's how we're going to preserve ourselves and the deen financially. For those brothers who study in Saudi Arabia, for all you beloved, beautiful brothers of mine who study in Saudi Arabia for free, majanan, for free, who paid the teachers? Who paid the overhead of all the Islamic universities? That means that economics play the part of you studying for free, majanan. Somebody paid for it. The school wasn't built for free. The teachers get paid a salary. Somebody paid the electricity bill. So how are you going to talk about Aqidah, but don't want to talk about finance, Islamic finances? I'm out of here. You can't talk about black community and solving black solutions, but don't want to talk about economics. Can't talk about giving dawah to the Nation of Islam, who have their own economic system, to a group of Muslims in the African American Sunni community or Salafi community who's scared and don't even have no series of discussions on economics. Well, are we kidding? We need to give ourselves dawah.